Yeah, interesting to see you playing with the nan lights. You said you sponsored by them, Anubiv? Do they send them to you, or what's the deal with that? I think I remember you saying something similar to that before, right? They sent you the lights. You were testing them out, or you're writing a review for them, or yeah, I can't remember the tubes, right? Is it the nan lights? If I forget, yeah. Ludwig, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. It's been a while, man, since I've seen you in here. Glad you could make it. Yeah, glad you could make it, mate. Simon, how you doing? Are you still playing with your light tube, Simon? You still having a bit? Because did you get one, or did you get more than that, Simon? You get a bunch. But yeah, let's have a look. Where are we getting this back? Just got sponsored by them to send me those. And what? Nice. Okay. So, if they asked you just to, like, here you go, check them out. Let us know what you think. Have you got? Is it like a borrowing thing? You got to give them back, or you got to do like a review a week, or is there anything like that? Just like, no, just go wild. Love to share your images that you create with them, because you're doing stuff that is like a lot of stuff working at home, right? So you're like all like certainly in like smaller home studios. You're not using them in a big cinematic environment. So it's great that they've kind of reached out to you to, I presume, show like the power of them that that anybody can get at home as well, which is pretty cool. Simon just got the one light tube. Haven't used it since then. The thing with that, Simon, is the power of those. Although the power is fine for in the studio. Those of you that don't know what Simon's talking about is like just the actual LED tubes that the Pixar Pro ones that are, in my opinion, relatively inexpensive compared to like the nan lights, which are pretty pricey, I think. How much is a nan light, Anubis? I know that's a pretty broad question. I know there's different sizes and that sort of thing, but generally, how much is one? Like, because you've got your one is about a meter long or something like that. How much is that? Because they're pretty pricey, I think. So I get to keep them and share the images and review mostly. I got 4 of them. Okay. Nice. Okay. Cool. Great. Good stuff, man. Yeah, good stuff. Good for you. Yeah, let's have a look. Those of you not sure what I'm talking about, we've shared an image. I didn't imagine it. You did have an image. Oh, this is the one. Yeah. So this is the image that he took. Oh yeah, these aren't a meter. They're like 50, 60 centimeters, something like that. But yeah, really cool. Look at this, eh? Oh, Pavo tubes. So you got. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Also, there's actually more. I didn't actually make sense. Yeah, I didn't actually notice that to begin with until I saw the diagram. So you've actually got LED panel on the floor as well. Okay, and the one behind. Gotcha. Yeah, really cool, man. Really cool. Yeah. Do you know the settings of this? And the reason I'm asking is just in terms of the brightness. I got no idea about the brightness. Were these on full power, for example? Like these fellas here, I presume they're on full power LEDs. Any idea of the kind of camera settings that you were using? Like 125th of a second, f2.8 ISO 400. That, I mean, just trying to get just to gauge on just how bright they are in that sort of space, because they're pretty close to it, which is fine. Yeah, I'm just trying to get an idea. Can't advertise the newer lamps. Hey, yeah. I'm the newest, like dead cheap, and you've got these 300 quid tubes here, and then you got like a $30 LED panel on the floor. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, companies for the most part, if the work is good, they'll they understand that you know, it's not one size fits all, right? Because I love the rotor lights, you know, that I'm using, love them, but difficult to get hard light, right? So you know, I kind of get away with using some harder light sources as well, like with the Godox SZ150R or something like that, just because I'm able to put SFIT attachments on it. So Nubib's just shared the settings here. So you were shooting at f1.4, ISO 400, and am I reading this right, Nubib? You shot this at 1600th of a second, so like 1600th of a second. There must be an extra zero, right? You didn't shoot that at. I mean, that's that can't be right? You must be 160th, right? What did I miss down here? So $300 with full. Oh, $200 a single lamp. Okay, gotcha. And for the full kit, no idea what a full kit would be. So they're 15 centimeters. Really? Okay, so the one behind foil was 60%, the rest were around 80% power. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I'll be interested to see that is just no way that's correct. There's no way that you'd shoot at that if there was like water droplets or something. I'm sure you weren't shooting at that. But yeah, cool, good stuff. Always fun seeing the colourful shots that we have in here. A bunch of colourful. It's not going to be a super long one tonight. I've got a session later on. I can't refresh it on my end. Unless it's just gonna. Is it going to keep them or not? It's not the end of the world if it doesn't keep them. Okay, so I got to ask him, why are you shooting at 1600th of a second? Kind of interested. Because that's obviously like super fast shutter speed. Have you run into issues before where like you're shaking or she's shaking or something? Because that is, I'm shooting mine at 125th usually, and that's very, very fast for the LEDs. It's not like you're using high speed sync or anything like that. So I'm just kind of curious, because I mean, like, if that's the case, then they are super bright. So what's that? 125th. So you got 60th, 125th. You got 250th, 500, 1000. So you know, it's 5 stops. Gotcha. Okay, Nubib. Okay. I thought there had to be a reason. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So Nubib says he's got a metal plate in his arm that sometimes makes his hand shaky, so he shoots at faster shutter speed. So those are bright then. They're like, because that's a very fast shutter speed. You know, we're talking nearly 5 stops in terms of extra, you know, brightness compared to where I am with like the super cheap ones. I'm at probably 2.8 ISO 400 at 125th of a second. You know, and mine are at full power, but then mine are like 50 quid, right? The ones that I got. So they are bright then. Okay, and you're not even running those at full power either. You said they're running at 60%, 80%. Yeah. Gotcha. Oh, those comments, Anubis. Sorry. Okay, gotcha. I see what you're saying. Refresh those comments. Gotcha. Okay. Let's have a look. Were they in here or? It doesn't matter if they're not. It's fine. Yeah, you've already explained it. It's fine. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, down here you've added another comment. Gotcha. So you got there. Oh, so you're using the Canon. Nice. ISO 400. Yeah. I'm impressed at how bright they are. That is nuts. Yeah. because yeah, 1600 of a second is stopping a lot of light. So that, yeah, okay, fair dues. Yeah. What's this app here? You just screenshot your phone. How are you getting this data on your phone like that? You in? Oh, is it something in Dropbox that shows you the metadata like that? That's interesting. Because normally some of the images get stripped. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, we got thoroughly sidetracked on gear there. Who would have thought, eh? Who would have thought? So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Those of you not been here before or new, what's going on? Every couple of weeks I do a live stream and go through your shots, give some feedback, have a little bit of play with them in Photoshop if need be. Just some critique if needed, and yeah. Going through images. If you wanted to post or share an image, then you can do in yesterday's post on my page. Just head to my yesterday's post there and the share a shoot, and then in the comments of this image you'll see everybody's images in here, which we're going to go through in a minute. So yeah, every week on Monday, I just do text, and every couple of weeks I will do live stream like this. Actually, I have one thing. I don't know if I've experimented with it, but I've started to upload the VoDs to YouTube, so the recordings of this as well. I know it doesn't affect you guys because you're already watching it, but it is something that I'm kind of experimenting with. So yeah, I just have to download this, and then I have to clip the song off at the start, and then upload it to YouTube, and just because I think like there's a lot of people who don't have Facebook anymore. Yeah. It's an iPhone photo app. Okay, cool. We do need to have some absolute scales for that at some point. It's making comparing various lights and effects a lot harder than it has to be with such a variety of value systems. I agree. Why is that comment like? Oh, okay. What? Weird. All right, fine. I know, Simon. Yeah, yeah. I really noticed it as well when I was. So I do the projector workshop as well, and they just talk in lumens, and I mean they'll also have imperial and metric ways of measuring different things with their system as well. It is a mess. Yeah, you're talking about reflected light. You're talking about I mean, if you've been shooting a long time, then you've kind of got a pretty good gauge as to what something looks like in terms of brightness. Anybody coming from the old film days, Sunny 16 rules and all that sort of stuff. But it can be really, really difficult to kind of get an idea on the brightness of a light until, like Anubhav's given this figure here, which I was like, immediately I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, those things are bright. Yeah. But I agree with you, it would be cool to have some sort of universal or grounding. I mean, even with like f-stops and t-stops, right? F-stops, which is the size of the hole for cameras, and t-stops measuring the actual light in cinema. And like the reason that this happens is because lenses are brighter than different lenses of the same aperture. So I have a 24-70, for example, lens, and f2.8 on that is fine, but I've also got a 105mm prime lens. 2.8 on that is at least a stop brighter. It's the same f number, but it's super confusing for people learning and coming into it, especially if you're using a light meter, right? The light meter is telling me it needs to be this. According to this lens, you'd be, a stop overexposed. And again, back in the day when I was assisting up there in London, it would be you would calibrate the light meter to the lens. Okay, we're using this lens. This is the light meter, calibration that we need to have with it. So this is another reason why I think light meters are a little bit can get people into trouble. And again, like you said, a unified measurement would certainly help people learning for sure. Yeah. Okay. It's not going to be a super long one today. I got a session later on with a guy in the US, so I'm not going to be super late. I'm going to go through these, I'm going to grab some dinner, and then I'm probably going to jump back on the call with him and do that later on. So yeah, I'm not going to be super late tonight, but we can certainly go through the images that we've got here. Like I said, if anybody's joined and they want to share an image, they can do. Just scroll back to last night's JHP post, scroll down to the comments, and just post it in the comments, and we will have a look in a second. Okay, so let's give it one last refresh. Let's have a look what we got. So we got Liz here. This was taken on a walk with Sam Nash in Birmingham, so I can't claim the lighting was me. So you're blaming Sam then? Okay, Liz. Okay. I don't think Liz is in here. Sadly, I would have been interested to ask how the photo walk went. I know Sam Nash is a ambassador for Rotalight as well. He was at the event the other night up there, and I know he does a ton of photo walks. So if any of you are interested in sort of getting out and shooting and using some of the Rotalight panels outside, and he does those. I mean, seemingly everybody weekend, bless him. So it's cool that Liz, you've been on that, and hope you had a good time. Looks like he's setting up some cool shots here. So Liz saying that EOS 2 and Neo 3 in the back on the purple. So EOS 2 here lighting on the face, and then Neo 3 in the back on the purple gel. Had the wrong lens to capture feet with any clarity anyway, but just wanted general feedback as I have an individual shoot book with this model and want to make the most of it. That's fair. Look, I think overall this is looking good. We've got this like the EOS is in a good spot with regards to, we can see the shadow under the nose, shadow under the jaw. We've got beautiful sculpted light here on the cheekbone. So the model's nose to the light, super easy to make look good. And yeah, I think overall this is looking good. It's maybe a little bit bright, I would say. And again, this may not be anybody's fault. This is, if like Sam set it up, was like, oh yeah, make sure your camera's on f2.8, at a 60th or whatever, and you do that and it's a bit bright, it could just be your lens. Okay, so it might not be anybody's fault, but it's just something to watch, that the skin feels a little bit bright here. And you mentioned here, I had the wrong lens to capture feet with any clarity anyway. So again, this is kind of a tricky one, right? Because you've got the EOS brought in, which I presume is just out of shot here, lighting the face, and it's probably, we can start to see the light dropping off already. So I would say that this is the shot. I don't think you needed to capture the feet personally. I know, like, this is definitely the shot, and the crop and the composition that you've gone for here. I think this is definitely what you're after. So yeah, I think that's job well done on that front. Purple behind with the Neo, all good. Yeah, all good. One thing kind of not sitting 100% with me, it's just the purple and the orange. I kind of want to see, I'm just going to have a play. So there's nothing, nothing against anybody that shot this or chose the colors or anything like that. This is me just having a little bit of a play here and see what we can do with these colors, because purple and orange is and like I said, I don't know who set this up, and I'm not pointing the finger of blame, but purple and orange do not tend to go well together. So we kind of want to think about how we can do this in the future. Maybe we want to go for something that's more of a bluish, turquoisey color back there. Would be a beautiful complement to the orange that we have here. Right. Another thing is you could just go orange. We've got the reds of the wall here. We got the the lips. We got the oranges here. You could just go for an orange back there. Could be good. I'm never a fan of green, but green and orange do work as well. So you could have, as long as it's not a like a gross green, as long as you got like almost a darker, almost bluey green back there. I know I've just said sort of turquoise before, but I mean towards like the forest green type. Think the fruit like orange, right? It's got the little green thing on it. Think that sort of green. So something like that could work. Yet as a guide, yeah, generally orange and purple don't work too well together. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let me sort this out so you can see what's going on. Okay, right. So I'm just going to see if we can't just darken her face down just a touch. So I'm just going to use the apply image here. Okay, so this is the same thing I normally do when this happens, is just create a curves layer with the mask selected, go into image, apply image, and this gives us this mask here. So at the moment we have our highlights selected, so we can kind of just target those, just bring those down a tiny bit. Okay. Right. So now let's see if we can't just tweak some of these colors. Let's have a look. So I'm just seeing what we can do with these in terms of this magenta. I just want to see what, I'm just trying to work out what the reds was capturing then. So if you know, reds is capturing most of it, yellow, a little bit in the outfit. Okay. So this magenta, let's see if we can try and tie these colors together a little bit. We'll try and, I guess, get a little bit of harmony between these colors if we can do. I was hoping we would be able to target that magenta more than we are, but let me just see if we can't. So kind of pushing it towards the reds and stuff here, right? So kind of pushing it towards the reds might make our life a little bit easier. Again, just trying to get that this orange looking usable. And the yellows is those highlights. Let's bring those down. Okay. So let's come in here a second. Let's bring a channel mixer in. So really, in the channel mixer, let's have a look at some of these. Let's see what we can do here. Just trying to get a little bit of inspiration as to where we want to take this, color-wise. So we're getting a bit funky. Let's try in the blues to see, because I mean, obviously we got a lot of the orange jumpsuit there. So, but the opposite of blue is going to be yellow. So, so we're kind of locking these colors in a little bit now. So we've managed to get this light back here into the reddish tone. Warmed that up, so similar to the orange jumpsuit. So we're kind of getting there now. Did I do anything in there? Did I do anything there? Cool. Okay. So now I'm just going to come back to the reds here. And just try and balance that out a little bit. I don't think we need to do anything in the green, really, because the green, I was kind of thinking if we could just play with the skin tone, it's just a tiny bit there. I think that's pretty much gonna do it. Okay, so really, it's just about trying to just trying to harmonize the like the image a little bit with regards to that purple back there. This is not to say that it's better. It's just to give you an alternative. So let's see, this is just going to be final color curve, and sometimes this final color curve can be a good way to bring back some of the contrast in certain colors. So like here in the red channel, I've given just a tiny little S curve in there. That can certainly help. This is just going to help to give the image just a little bit of a pop. And then just warm up those oranges again. Cool. There's a little bit of green and stuff down here that I wasn't happy with. So I've just kind of removed that, and the green in the wall, that sort of thing. Yeah, just so again, just locking that in. Okay, so again, this is just thinking about what colors are going to work well together at a time, what we can, you know, what's going to harmonize. You either want to go like complementary, you know, so opposites on the color wheel, or you want to go colors that are going to, you know, harmonize like analogous colors, so colors that sit side by side. So here we've got the orange and the reds, so they're going to be like more of an analogous or warm color palette. Okay, so thinking about that sort of thing. Okay. Okay, but thank you, Liz, for sharing that one. Just in terms of the lighting as well. Just lastly, in terms of feedback, you're going to be shooting with this model, thinking about, you know, the height of this light. So at the moment she's got her chin down. If she'd had her chin up here, because this is very, very close to being too low, just make sure that wherever her pose is, that light is going to be above the you know, casting shadows properly underneath the face, so it looks like we've been lit from above. So here that light is pretty much straight on, and it's fine with her chin down. Had she had her chin up, we would have been in a bit of an issue. But yeah, otherwise I think everything's cool. Yeah, and again, same with the light behind. Make sure it's up nice and high. You know, have that light coming down. Okay. Right. Okay. So who's next? We got Simon's here. So Simon says, showing off the first of the 35mm film I've run through my old Canon EOS today. Hand developed lomography 100, scanned with auto exposure. Is that an app, Simon, if you're still there? Is that auto exposure an app? Or dust management wasn't great though. I think I need a different set of tools to get rid of that. Subjects from a random statue in somebody's front garden down in Notting Hill. I mean, of course it is. I don't know, man. I dust and scratches and stuff. I don't think you need to worry about it. I would kind of lean into it. I think it's kind of weird. You know, 20 years ago, it would have been horrendous, but now I think you can afford to lean into it a little bit more, and have this kind of, how should we say, raw look from film that has the dust and bits and pieces in it. You know, with everything being very artificial and clinical and stuff now, I honestly would be okay with this. Like if it's a portrait and, you know, you've got dust over the eyeball and that sort of stuff, yeah, I get it. But like if it's not affecting the face and anything like that, and you've got little bits like this, I personally don't have an issue with this, and I think that it shows that you're shooting, you know, film, as it were. So Canon EOS, that's not the name of it. Is there a name to that camera, or is it just called that? It can't be that old. It can't just be the OG. No, it's auto exposure settings in Epson Scan. Oh, gotcha. Got Epson Scan. You scan them yourself then? You've done a good job if you're scanning those yourself, because scanning is a pain in the ass with regards to the rainbow effects you can sometimes get if the film's not flat. So you've done a good job of that. Yeah. Actually, also really like the color grade that you've gone for here. The, you know, like the look that you've got. It definitely looks like it's actual film for one. Yeah, real cool. Yeah. Are you gonna try and shoot some portraits with it? You think you're gonna try and do some shots? Because what I do is I shoot digital, and then I'll have the film camera ready, and then I'll just double check, you know, the exposures. Sometimes sometimes it's going to be difficult to, because you can't change the ISO on a camera, right? You've just got the ISO 100 on the film. So sometimes just double check that everything's working test-wise with the digital camera, and then switch to the film and grab some shots. And you can't really go wrong then. And you've got the benefit of having digital and film, and the confidence in that it was correctly exposed at the time. What color grade is not modified, and yes, scanning was apparently else. Yeah, so this is just the grade that come through. That's really, I guess it's really nice. Whatever it is you're doing or using, I suppose it's the Lomo color, isn't it? The Lomo grade does have these purpley blacks, purpley shadows. If I remember rightly, I think some of them, not all of them, but yeah, I do remember some of the Lomo films do have this kind of purpley shadows, which is actually really nice. Yeah, so they're kind of doing that on purpose, which is really nice, because the opposite of purple is yellow. So we have this really nice shot here where Simon's got the purpley sort of shadows of this statue here. You can really see it purple down here, and then we have the yellow from the grass. So really nice, and the gold and that sort of thing. So it's actually a really nice color combo. Yeah. I think I need to be sure about the flash triggering for. Oh yeah, all that. It's good. It's got good ambient light. It had too many black frames from failures in the strobes recently. So that's just the camera not syncing, right? Is that what's happening? It's usually the shutter speed with those older cameras. Like 60th is fine. I don't know how old your camera is, and if there's no ambient in the room, just flash, then shooting at a 30th of a second is fine. Remember, because the flash itself is 4,000ths of a second. You don't need to worry about shooting at 30th, I'm going to get blurring. If there's no ambient in the room, then you should be fine. If you're not sure as to what the flash sync is, I know I did a bunch of costly experiments on my old camera as well to try and work out exactly what works and what doesn't. But yeah, syncing with the old film cameras was a nightmare. Yeah, I do remember that now. And you can buy the little blocks, that sit in the hot shoe. So what we used to do is we used to have one of those little cubes. You'd slot it into the hot shoe, and then at the front of that cube, you'd have a little nipple thing that you could plug the actual flash into, and that seemed to work pretty consistently, as long as you taped the cable onto that block. Otherwise, it would just you'd turn portrait mode and it would fall out, and you wouldn't spot it, and you just shoot images without. Yeah, I'm glad all that shit's behind me. I can assure you. This is cool, man. This is cool. This is really good. Personal work about colors by using multiple gobos. I stick gels on a polyester sheet in order to put them as I wanted, and used a snoot to have strong shadows. Okay, let me just read that again a second. So what did Simon say? Is the signal path from the camera to the lights that's breaking? I'm stuck using the PC connector on the 5D4 at the minute, and the cables aren't very reliable. Yeah. I mean, there is multiple paths to failure with that. Sadly, is it the hot shoe? Is it the cable attaching to the hot shoe? Is it the actual cable in the strobe itself? I know we would have that cable would fall out as well. Yeah, there is a lot of paths to failure there, but that just makes the results, the good results, all the better, Simon. You just got to remember that. So yeah, back to Ludwig's shot here. So personal work about colors, you'd be using multiple gobos. I stick gels on a polyester sheet in order to put them as I wanted, and used a snoot to have strong shadows. So what we've got going on here is these multiple colors on the face, and if I'm understanding this correctly, so Tony says, great idea. Do you mean the gel sheet is between the light and the snoot fitting, or stuck on the end of the snoot? And Ludwig says, no, between the model and the light source. So if I'm reading this correctly, what he's saying is that he's got the model, he's got the light here. So he's using multiple gobos. I stick those in the snoot. Oh, no, he's using a snoot. Okay, and then as far as I can tell, he has a sheet here, right? This polyester sheet or whatever it is, and that sheet has got different patches of gels on it, if I'm understanding that correctly. So what then happens is the light comes through there, and then then we get the resulting different shapes and colors here. That would be my understanding. And one of the things that is tricky about doing this is you need a very hard light source to make this happen. And I've done this in the past with just simple gobos, not even colored gels, but just simple gobos. That is right, Ludwig. Okay, perfect. Thank you. How far, if you don't mind me asking, how far away is this sheet here? How far away is this sheet from the actual flash? We're talking like 2 feet, like 6 inches. Kind of curious as to where you've gone with, because there's that toss up. The further you bring it away, the sharper the lines are going to be here, right? So the further or the closer it is to the model, like the sharper the lines, the colored lines are going to be here. But obviously, the further away from the light you put it, the smaller that sort of sheet of gels is going to be to the on the model itself. So Ludwig just said the polyester sheet was very close to the model. Oh, you actually had it very close to the model. Okay. So was it a pretty big sheet then, if it's that close? Because like I said, the further it gets from the light, the smaller it's going to be projected onto the model itself. Really, really cool idea. And I think it's executed really well. And like what you've done. The other, you've got multiple issues to contend with here. One of which is what we're kind of discussing now on stream, which is going to be the size of it, how close it is. So Ludwig's bringing it closer to the model here to try and get like exactly the look that he's after, and to try and get the colors to be nice and crisp, right, on the model, because the further away from the model, like the more blurred these colors will be. The other downside is that different gels are going to have different densities, right? So you're going to have different brightnesses of gel. So it's not like shining a light through. For example, if I had a navy blue gel, like a deep, cobalt blue gel, and I had a yellow gel, right, to get the same exposure from those two lights, if I was to, I wanted to get f4 or something like that, like the blue light would need to be maybe 2, if not 3 times more powerful than the yellow light to get the same effect. My point here is that Ludwig is working with one light, and he is trying to combine multiple different color gels. So the red gel is going to be denser, right, and then the yellow is going to be lighter. So it's difficult to get that balance. So I think what you've done in terms of the coloring and that sort of thing is really cool. I think this is, even the colors that you've gone for, I don't know what the raw look like. Whether you're like, yeah, like the yellow was a little bit washed out and the red was a bit dark. I don't know. Maybe that you've got gels that are pretty much bang on to begin with. But yeah, I really like the coloring that you've gone for. It definitely a bit of a retro vibe, which I think works well here. You're dealing with some of the issues that I was going to bring up already about how close it is to the model to get sharper lines, but if it's already very, very close to model, then that explains that. The other thing here is I'm not a huge fan of the wide angle coming in super close like this. You could probably get away with bringing in that gel sheet even closer if you step back with a longer lens, for example. If you wanted to do that, if you wanted to have the gel sheet even closer and not worried about being in shot, then having a longer lens, stepping back and zooming in would compress the area that you're actually using, so you could have that sheet super close to the model. You could also play with different colors of gels on the acetate as well. So maybe if it was just all like 3 teal ones, for example, it would be very easy to expose, right? Because they're all going to be the same color and the same density, so it'd be very, very easy to manage it like that. And just lastly, the one little thing that I would kind of like to have seen is just the catch lights in the eyes. So I'm only, I know you've asked for CC, so I'm just being overly harsh. I know we've spoke at length in the past, so I am being overly harsh on you. But yeah, catch lights in the eyes would would really just open this up just a tiny. It doesn't need to be a huge amount, but just having the light that's being projected onto her either just down low enough, or trying to get that light in the eyes just enough, you know, just enough so that we had just a tiny bit of light in there, you know, just a tiny little bit of a catch light in there would have helped. But again, really cool. Love the idea. Super creative as always. You know, a lot of your stuff recently has been super creative, so it's been great to see that. And yeah, I really hope you play with this further. You know, what else can be done with it? You can do a similar sort of thing with, what's it called? Is it like perspex? It's like you can get colored perspex. So I've done it before where I've suspended colored perspex, and then, you know, light goes through that, and you can get some cool shapes as well. I mean, they cast shadows, but you can you can do stuff with that, even if you had different shapes of perspex and then applied gels to those. So that's something that you can kind of play with as well. So as I said, if you've been a nerd like me and done a light difference matrix for your gels, you'd have the data for how much ND gel you'd need to stack under each color to balance out the colors. Yeah, so what Simon's saying there is that he's gone through his gels and he has an idea of like the, you know, like the density as to how much light is actually going through. So what he's saying here is that what you could do if you're like, oh Jake, I really want to use, you know, a blue or deep red and bright yellow in the same thing. What Simon's saying here is that one way around that could be to apply like half a stop of, or a whole stop of ND gel over the yellow, and then have the red just as normal, which would be a clever solution to it, because then you would have pretty much the same density of light coming through as well, which could be cool. Same also, you know, the same is true for the area of white here as well, because we're shining a lot of light through to try and make this like red stand out, for example, but as a byproduct of that, we do have this very blown out highlight here. So you could do what Simon is saying here as well, and in the white cross here, for example, you could just have an ND gel, and you would have a very balanced, a very balanced color or density going across like that. Okay. One thing we used to do as well years ago was you can print onto acetate, so like an inkjet printer, so you can get special acetate that you can feed into an inkjet printer, and that inkjet will go onto that acetate. So we would print out similar sort of things to this onto acetate, and then you could shine light through that. Now you're not too worried about this because it's not going to be in focus, so it's not like you're going to see the pixels or any printer lines or anything like that, but you can get even more creative with like the kind of shapes and stuff by actually printing onto this acetate, because the printing acetate is very translucent, right? So you could manage the exposure via that method as well. So that could be cool. Yeah. Someone says, yeah, well, the only gels I've got are your packs, Jake, so I'd be happy to share the sheet with anybody who wants it. Oh, that's super kind, Simon. Yeah, it's super kind. I'm kind of curious. I've got a rough idea in my head. Like, I know that the navy blue in my pack is probably, you know, 2 stops darker than like the yellow, for example, something like that sort of thing. But that, you know, it's interesting that you've gone through that, and it's rare that you would need that data, but this is a really interesting use case for it, actually. Trying to get an even exposure. Yeah. Thanks for the feedback, very useful. I'll pay attention to the gel density next time I use the setup. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I think this works. You know, I think it's a really cool idea, and I think it works really well. But yeah, just thinking about choosing colors that would maybe more density neutral, if you like, It's not going to have the same impact as this, but yeah, certainly something to think about for sure. Yeah, really cool, really cool. Okay, so Tony, our resident Australian that very rarely catches the stream as he's still in bed, says, what can you do with a terrible rainy day Witcher shoot? Nice. No Mid-Journey. Nice. Yeah, so this was actually just in the skies above Australia, was it, Tony? It's the original shot. So Tony's been sharing stuff in here for years, and Tony does tend to do a lot of creative stuff, whether he's working with cosplayers or creative elements where he's adding bits in afterwards. So this is actually really cool, and it's like, that sky is nuts. Is that really a real sky? That looks terrifying. The hell? That looks straight out of War of the Worlds. So this is the real sky? That's crazy. And then I like what he's done here with the color grade, right? So he's given it that sort of deep blue grade, which is a very effective but simple way of merging two images together that weren't originally shot simultaneously. So composite artists use it all the time, like heavy color grades, and it is a very useful and like effective tool. It's it's not a cop out in any way. I think it works really well, but yeah, it is a very effective tool of being able to lock two images with different colors together, right? So this one was clearly had no color in it at all, very, very gray and neutral. And the image that you may have had of the dragon, maybe the dragon was far brighter and maybe had green scales or something like that. So it would have been very difficult to kind of match that accurately. So what he's done here is he's just put this blue cast over to kind of lock those two images together. Again, yeah, effective for sure. Very, very effective. And that's one hell of a rainy day. Yeah, trust me, Tony, when we get a rainy day here, it's just drizzle and grey. We don't get this gnarly cloud structure at all. It's just grey. So we've got a new bit of shot here. We've already kind of looked at his images at the start here, but very, very colourful. Anubhav's shared the BTS for those of you that are interested. He's using the nanlite tubes here, or what did he say? Are they called something here? Pavo tubes. Okay. So he's using those here, and it's just, as you can see there, it's just doing it in his kitchenette area there, dining room, whatever it is. So shooting at home. Got this background that he's just bought from a DIY store, this plastic sheeting, spray painted some text on there just to give it a little bit of depth, but and I think if he said he shared somewhere a minute ago that he was shooting at f1.4, I think somewhere else, I forget where it is now, but yeah, he shared a screenshot of the images if you missed the start of the stream, and he's saying he's shooting at f1.4. So it's interesting that people can get put off shooting at home, or I don't have a space, I don't have a background and that sort of stuff. So we can see here the background, and then in the shot here, we can kind of see the background, but it just doesn't matter, right? Shooting at f1.4, you can even get away with this. f2, even 2.8, you could probably get away with it. But yeah, everything's just blown out. It's just a non-issue, right? This stuff. But I know to ask when oh my god, you can see you can see my counter in the background. But to a viewer seeing that, they have no context as to what that is. So it just becomes this abstract shape. So it's very, very easy to work from home than do shoots at home, more so than people realize. Interesting to see this at 1.4, how even the flowers here are out of focus as well, which is kind of nutty. Like the ones that close. Yeah. Thank you, Anubhav. Thank you. I was with my next question. What focal length is this, Anubhav? If you're seeing as you're still here, because this is like, even these flowers that are, I mean, like they're probably 6 to 12 inches closer to the camera than her nose is, for example, but it's not much. But yeah, really, really cool. She had this one as well, and I think we had this one down here as well from the same thing. So like these tubes, really interesting, and they're really interesting for small spaces like this, because and I noticed this with my Rotalight panels as well, and I've mentioned this kind of before about this collimating light, and really, although this is not collimating light in the technical sense, it's giving the same impression by having light coming in this wall of light, right? So imagine if we were trying to shoot this with a softbox, right? So what would happen is, you know, Anubhav's at home, you know, he's in his dining room here, he hasn't got tons and tons of room, so like the softbox can't be too far away, right? The softbox kind of has to be pretty close. As we can see here, the light's just out of shot. So what would normally happen is, if you were shooting with a softbox, you know, you would have your softbox just over here, and then it would be really close to the model. You know, I know it would be out of shot, but this is where the bulb would be, and then what, you know, we would have this effect where this bit would be very bright, and I see this all the time in people's images, you know, and you know they've used a softbox so that like the shoulder or the top part of the head would be very, very bright, and then it fades off to shadow very, very quickly towards the bottom. Now, like for the most part, it's not the end of the world, and I kind of like that natural vignetting that you can get with images. But what's happening here with these tubes, same thing with the panels that I've got, is because you don't have the hotspot, because your hotspot is the entirety of the light itself. Light is coming from everywhere, especially with these tubes. Very, very easy to use, like super easy to use, because the lighting that you get is so even, right? You know, look at the exposure up here, look at the exposure down here, super even, right? Because the light is coming from everywhere on this tube, and it's really apparent when you start to use them as to how much control that gives you, because you can bring lights in super close, turn them way down, and it's still going to give you that same consistent light that's going to drop off very, very quickly on the body, right? And this is what's happening here, the drop off of light very, very quick across the body here. So these tubes are and I'm just using cheap ones. Like, you know, Simon picked up one of the cheap ones the other week as well, and they're very interesting to use. Yeah, but very, like, completely different mindset when using them. I found as well, because you have this almost three-dimensional light. These ones seem to have a fairly large black point on them. The ones that I have are like, they're not 360 degrees, but they're like 320 degrees maybe, right? The light's all coming from that back strip. So when I'm bringing them into shot, and I'm working on the images at the moment, so I'll be sharing them soon, but you have this weird light coming from everywhere aspect. So light behind, light in front, all from the same light, and it's a very interesting tool to use. Yeah. Good part about the lamps, Anubhav says, good part about the lamps is that I can take photos of one color and load it to all the other lamps without doing any manual settings. The app recognizes the photo and takes the input. Anubhav says these are 180 degrees, which for the most part is what you want, right? You don't want light, because that's just wasted light, right? For the most part. I mean, I was doing a shot where I specifically wanted 360, or as close to 360 as I could, so I specifically chose those lamps for that. But for the most part, what Anubhav's saying here is that these, as you can see here, right, the lamps is all the light is going in, and of course, like, it would be pointless having 360 degree tubes, because you just have a ton of light bouncing into the room that's just being wasted, right? So for the most part, all you need is most of the light going forward. It's going to be absolutely fine. Yeah. So let me just read what Anubhav said again. Good part about these lamps is that I can take a photo of one color and load it to all the other lamps without doing any manual settings. The app recognizes the photo and takes the input. So what you're saying is that you can, what do you mean? Like, you can take a picture of a certain color and then plug that into the LED lights. Is that what you're saying? Because Rotolight has just brought that in as well with its Magic Eye feature on the app, which is really nice. It's not something that I think I'm gonna use, just because I like to dial in the color, like the bounced color, because we're talking about reflective, not transmissive. But when I was poor, I've made lamps, the same lamps for $15 each. The LED strip was diffused plastic tubes. Yeah, so I looked into that. Anubis was what Anubis was saying here is that before he got these very expensive pavo tubes, he was making them himself, and he's obviously doing a good job, right? Because Nanlite reached out to him and was like, look, love what you're able to do with $15 LED lamps. We'd love to see what you can do with our proper lights. So it's obviously working for him, right? So he's obviously made it look great with the cheap, crappy ones. And company has recognised that and gone, wow, love what you're doing. Imagine what you can do with ours. So obviously working for him. And Nubov does just confirm that, what I'm saying is correct. You choose a colour, and then you can, with your phone or whatever it is, or your app, and then that'll put the same colour to the tubes as, to the other tubes as well. I think it's a cool feature. I think it's great, and I think it definitely has a lot of ease of use for a lot of people as well. I think it's good for still life and that sort of thing. For me, it's kind of different because I'm using skin, right? So yes, so I can like that yellow M&M's packet, right? I can plug that into the app, and I can use that color, but the yellow bouncing off that skin is not the yellow that I want. Yes, the yellow coming from the tube is the right color, but it's or from the light is the right color, but it's not the reflected light. So there's a few steps to the process. Liz, sorry I didn't see you come in. Yes, we did have a look at your shot at the beginning, Liz. I spent a little bit of time going through it. But yeah, it'll all be in the VOD once I save it. So yeah, you can check that out at the end. But yeah, really cool. What are you putting on the skin here, Anuba? There's beautiful shine and that we're getting here. I spoke about this on Friday about this specular highlights and how important it can be to think about the size of the light itself. And again, tubes are really noticeable for that, having these really long, large areas of light, which are going to give us these very large specular highlights. So that's super noticeable on shiny things like leather and PVC and that sort of thing. And we can try and do the same thing on skin as well. So I presume she's got some sort of oil on there, just baby oil, yeah, and then overlay shine in Photoshop. Nice. Yeah, it's a baby oil. So that's great. If you've got to cover the baby oil is great for tattoos as well. It really makes tattoos pop. Putting baby oil on tattoos will really make the color or faded tattoos really pop. So yeah, it's always going to be a winner. So we got Roaring Waves Photography here, said shot from the weekend, working on a future group shoot idea with 2 gel lights, one either side, and a front strip box. Okay. So, I knew you were in here right at the start, Roaring. You still here? So what we're saying is we've got 2 gel lights, one either side. So we've got so obviously got a gel light here, and I think we've got a gel light here, right? And then a front strip box. So obviously we've got the blue on this side, right? And then we've got this. You still here, Roy? Nice. And then we still got the pinkish red here. And then you're saying you've got a front strip box. So is that out of shot here, like above? Is it like on its side here above, or is it to the side, just out of shot here? Is it like just here out of shot? That strip box. So yeah, fairly clean lighting setup. We just got 3 lights, two edge lights, and then we've got the like the white light in the middle. So we get some nice sort of gradients and stuff happening on the background as well. So it's one of those things, one of those setups where we actually kind of want the subject to be closer to the background, because we have this nice drop off of these colors spilling onto that white wall behind, or grey wall, whatever it is, but it's actually giving us these effects, which is kind of cool, because what's happening is we have the pink on this side or the reddish on this side, and it's washing past the model and making it pink on this side, and vice versa on the other side. We have the blue from this side and washing over onto this side. And so Roaring says, yeah, off at about 20 degrees to the front. So it is in the front, but it's off to the one side, yeah. Of course it is iridescent. And that is very iridescent. Yeah, of course it is very iridescent, yeah. It's what's giving us these rainbow colors, which is really cool. And yeah, so just in terms of the feedback for this then is really just going to be to watch the exposure of both of these lights here. So this blue, are you using strip softboxes, or what are you using as modifiers at the sides? I don't know if you're using just regular square softboxes or octagons, whatever they're called, strip softboxes. Yeah, I'd be curious. So what we've got here is we've got it's pretty bright on this side with regards to the exposure here, right? So there's a couple of things that we can do with that. If we turn it down, this is I'm going to wait to see what Roaring says in terms of what modifier he uses. I'll have a look at your comment in a second, Anubhav. Yeah. So Roaring says he's using a reflector dish with a gel sheet in front. Okay, cool. Right. So so what he's saying is he's got a reflector dish. So those of you who don't know, it's just a normal reflector dish, right? Which is just one of these. Yeah. And he's got his light back there. And he's got his bulb. And then he's just got the sheet of gel over the front of it, right? And he's saying he's got the same over here, right? And he's got his gel sheet over the front. So what's happening here is that we have literally just talking about this moments ago. So we have this area here, right? And it's probably just out of shot, right? And then that's getting our pool of light, right? And then it's very quickly dropping off to shadow down here, but we're not getting anywhere near as much light. But see how we have this nice beautiful blue color down here? This is kind of where we want, in my opinion, like the exposure to be. Because what's happening up here is that we are blowing out the skin and dress and that sort of thing, so we kind of lose some of that data. So we got a couple of options. One is just to either maybe angle that dish slightly past the model, okay, so that we get more of the color towards the outside. Yeah, let me just explain what I mean. So let's say we have our backdrop here, right? This is our backdrop. This is like a bird's eye view, right? We have our model, and we have our camera here, right? So we're going to have our strobe behind. Yeah, reflector dish, have our gel. Now what's going to happen is we're going to have this nice big spot of color behind the model, right? This nice bright bold color, and then as it gets further away here, it gets darker, right? So this is where that pool of light drifts off into shadow. What's happening is that the rich color is usually around the middle part of this spot. In here, it's kind of like blown out because it's like so bright, because that's the closest to the light. And here, as that light fades off, is where we get that rich color, and then out here it fades off to shadow. And that's what's happening here. We have this kind of blown out area here, and then we have like some of this like kind of nice rich tonal color here just towards the outside of that ring. So what we can do, right? What we can do, let's have a look at our shot again. You've got the model here, you've got your camera, and you've got your dish like this pointing at the model. What we can do, okay, is we can start to point our dish slightly further away from the model, right? So this will now be the overexposed bit here, and then this stuff here is where we have the nice rich color, and that's the stuff that's the area that's going to be hitting the model, right? So if you've only got those dishes to use, you can actually start to, rather than point those dishes directly at the model, because where we're going to get this blown out color, if we point them slightly past the model, we're going to get more of that rich color towards the edge of that spot. Now you could go, well, Jake, that's cool and all, but why don't I just turn the power of this down? You go, Jake, if you've told me this is overexposed, why don't I just turn the power of this down so that I can get that exposure? If you do that, then what's going to happen is that spot is going to get smaller, right? So as soon as we start to turn the power of this down, what we end up with is almost this smaller pool of light, yeah, because now we've turned the power of it down. What then happens is that we still kind of get the hotspot, it's just smaller in the middle, and like all this down here will just be dark shadow because you've turned the power of it down. Okay, and this is where this collimating of light situation is so powerful, is because you just do not get any of this issue with collimated light, right? So beauty dishes do it, it's like a poor man's version of collimated light, where you have that diffusion cone in the middle which bounces the light back into the dish before it sends out this column of light. Okay, so that's going to be like the easiest way to do that. So one way, or like we've seen with Anubhav there, where he's using actual larger light sources, not modifiers, actual larger light sources. And this is why I've started to move to the panels, is because we have these larger light sources that are sending light out in a very uniform way, as opposed to what we used to with strobes, which can be a bit of a pain in the ass, where they're very hot spotty in the middle. Hence why I don't use softboxes. I'm glad that makes sense, Roaring. I know that was a very long-winded way of doing it, but yeah, of saying it, but yeah, it is kind of a weird concept, because you're like, well, I'm not pointing it at the model, kind of pointing it past the model. Just be careful with flare into the lens. Obviously, if you're pointing it slightly past the model, then you may, the light now be coming into the lens a little bit more, but you should be fine. As long as the light's not there coming into the lens, you should be fine. Yeah. So Nubhav says, what tripod in budget you would recommend to act as a boom stand? I was trying to use these tubes more as a practical lamps overhead in recent shoot, but the actual studio boom stands are too expensive and big to bring in for home studio. What tripod in budget you would recommend to act as a boom stand? I was trying to use these tubes more as practical lamps overhead. Okay, but the actual studio boom stands are too expensive. Okay, I'll have a look in a second. And the shot has been color toned in post after enhance the background. To enhance the background. Yeah. I mean, which is fine. Yeah, which is fine. Back to Gail's comment here about, I love your reversed, how you reverse the colors in the background. So what we were saying about the pink is on this side, it's washing past the model and affecting the background back there. Same with the blue. The blue is washing past the model and affecting the background back there. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, and yeah, pumping up the background afterwards is fine. So Anu was asking about some way to suspend these shots overhead, and the only way that I do it, let me just see, I think I'm just going to find something to show you a second. I'm just going to find something on here, see if I can show you, rather than me trying to explain it. I know I've got an image somewhere, and I don't think it's too sexy. I think it's fine. I just want to double check that. Give me 2 seconds. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but what I have here is I have a crossbar and that crossbar, rather than using a boom, which are very expensive, you're right, I'm just making a crossbar with 2 light stands either side, right? So so you just so it's just a normal background crossbar, right? But instead of putting a background on it, I'm just using a super clamp on the background itself, and then hanging the light from that, because the super clamp allows for a spigot, right? So you just put the spigot in there and then hang the light from that. So I definitely hear where you're coming from, Anubhav, in terms of the cost of boom arms and that sort of thing. I mean, like a C stand is well worth the money. Like, you will use that way more than you think you will. I think you can get them for like 120 quid or something like that. I know it's expensive, but C stands are so useful. So you will use it, but if you've already got light stands and that sort of thing, chances are you already have a background bar. In fact, I saw it in your shot already, right? You've actually you've already got a bar there. So rather than the bar back there, I would just put the bar above her and then suspend the clamp from that. Yeah. Hey, no worries, Roaring. Yeah, no worries. Okay. So we already saw that one. Let's do these ones. Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. This can be an idea to try on next shoot. You have background bar. Exactly. But yeah, so I'm just trying to come up with ideas that you probably already have stuff. The crab clamps are really good as well. So the super clamp is what I use, right? So, which is fairly heavy duty, but it enables the spigot to come out, and you can put it on anything. So you can clamp that, to quite firmly to the C stand going down. You can really crank that on, or you can use it from above, which again is what I was doing, just putting it on the crossbar above and hanging down. The poor man's version of that is this little fella here, okay, which is called a crab clamp. Okay, so again, it does a similar sort of thing, but it has a spigot hole at the back there. Yeah, so you can just screw your spigot into that. They're not. I mean, you can buy them on. I mean, I just bought like a bunch of them on eBay. I think they're like. I mean, you can get it for like 6 quid each, I think. So yeah, so you just so it takes both. It takes both sizes. Yeah. Okay. Now these aren't strong enough. Like you can't really. They're not really strong enough to clamp that to a pole. It's not got quite enough juice. But if you're hanging something from above, especially those downlight stands are they're going to be very lightweight compared to what I'm hanging, which is like a multiple kilo strobe. So I think you'd be fine. Okay, making me think, as in my studio I have wooden beams so I could suspend lights from them. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing, right? Having the light in front of the subject, but without it getting in front of the actual camera is that's I want the light here, boom, but there's going to be a light stand in the way, right? That's the biggest issue. So yeah, I mean, if you've got beams and stuff, then having them suspended from there is going to be perfect. And you can buy plates. I don't know if it's your place and that sort of stuff, but I know in our old studio you can buy plates that it's like a metal plate that has 4 screw holes in it, and then in the center of that plate you have the spigot hole, basically, so you just put a spigot in there and screw that on. So you could this is what we did. We had those plates. You just screw those plates into the beams, and then you can just suspend lights from wherever you want. Yeah. So Liz says, talking stands, the stand and Roto Neo, and especially the areas are super wobbly. Or what is it with the wobbly units? Any tips? Yeah, they're just super lightweight stands for travel. Liz. So I completely agree with you. I mean, it's certainly not ideal, but I think that in terms of travel stands, like you've got this very lightweight light, kind of makes sense that, you know, they come with those very lightweight stands. You can take them anywhere. I'll be totally honest, I'm with you. I never use them on those stands. The reason being as well is they don't quite go high enough. I know you weren't here for the start, but I will just quickly go over what I mentioned here, because it is, you know, it is something that I was talking about, is the height of the light here. So I don't know, obviously, but the EOS 2 was probably set on the stand here. Maybe that EOS 2 was at its highest point on those stands. Now at the moment the light is okay because her chin's down, but I get the feeling that had her chin been up for these, that light would have not been high enough. So there really is no way around it other than to buy light stands, which are not that expensive. You don't need to get, you know, Manfrotto light stands or anything like that. You can get stands that are decent. And look, I've got my light stands here that I bought in 2002. Okay, so they're over 20 years old, and there is absolutely zero sign of them wearing out. So it's not like you're spending all that money on a bloody camera and it'll be obsolete in 5 years. Like buying light stands and that sort of stuff is just literally will last you a lifetime. Like I said, I got mine there. Like I said, they're over 20 years old. So like buying half decent light stands is certainly an investment, and I would strongly encourage you to do so. Let's just have a look, you know, see what, like, it's all well me saying, oh, get this. You're like, well, there's 1,000,001 stands, Jake. So let's have a look. So Anuba was asking about booms and that sort of stuff, and I was saying about C stands. So, and this may well be, you know, outside of people's budgets, and these are not lightweight, but like this is what I use. I swear by these things. These things are rock solid. Okay, I know they're 160 quid, but that's because you get this crossbar as well. Okay, so I'm just showing you like the top end, all right, and this is a really good price for a C stand, by the way. So yeah, really good price for a C stand, and that's going to be, yeah, I've got a couple of those. Job's done. I mean, if you can save money and get these ones that don't have the crossbar for some reason. What's this one? This is just the height, I think. Is that little Baba one? Okay. But yeah, this is great. I mean, these ones as well. You can get these ones that have the foldable legs and that sort of thing if you're traveling. But yeah, so that's that. Light stands. Let's have a look. So this is probably the sort of thing that you're referring to, Liz. I don't know off the top of my head, but these are similar, right? Very, very lightweight, fold up, super small, but can be very wobbly, should we say, right? So, which is fine, and I have these if I've got to do a gig in London, corporate headshots, something like that. I'm doing, I'm going to use public transport, take a couple of these. I'm going to be in an office somewhere. I'm not worried about the wind. It's not a problem, right? But if you're outside, wind, all that sort of stuff, it can be a bit of an issue. So, like this is going to be is, you know, good with a couple of options in terms of height and that sort of thing. Very stable base, going to have a wide base. Very high in terms of going to be able to get up higher than the travel stands, right? Plus, what I like about these, I don't actually have any of these new ones, but they actually come with a spigot that you can take out the top and you plug it into the side, right? Which is actually really cool, because rather than having your you know, most light stands are straight up and down like that, right? What you do is you take that spigot out of the top of that, and you plug it into the side of your light stand. So now you can mount your lights almost off to one side, right? So if you had the EOS 2, for example, you could plug the EOS, because it's super lightweight, you could plug the EOS 2 at 90 degrees like that and literally shoot underneath it. Yeah. So, hey, Wibbly, how you doing? So yeah, like this is a really cool feature that I don't see anybody ever kind of mention. None of my stands have this, but it is kind of like a built-in right angle bracket, especially for something like the EOS, which is super lightweight. You can literally just mount it on its side, shoot underneath. Very, very cool. So yeah, that's going to be, you know, like value for sure, right? Definitely going to be, you know, very, very good value, and also flexibility and that sort of thing. And you can just come up if you need, like, I've got a couple of taller ones. You know, this is, you know, something like this 300 centimeters is going to give you, is going to cover you for everything. So I've got a couple of tall ones, and then I've got like 8 kind of ones like this, but none of mine have that fancy top. So yeah, definitely going to give you more peace of mind, especially when, and I know you already have them, but you, like spending just a few quid to have a light stand that's going to give you peace of mind is going to be far better than £1,000 light falling on the ground, right? So yeah, that's just me. Yeah. So dream setup, a couple of C stands, and then like 4 of these, good to go. Maybe a couple of these tall ones as well. Yeah, I think I actually have a discount code for Pixapro. I think I do. Does it give me a chance for a code here? Discount code. Is it? What's it? I think it's. I'll look it up. I mean, enter a valid code. It's a bit mean, isn't it? Has it got to be capitals? I'm sure that I do have a code. Let me. I will find it, and then I'll pass it on. But yeah, it's definitely worth getting a half decent light stand, and then, like I said, it'll last you a lifetime. It literally will. So yeah. Let's have a look here. Oh, it's a discount code for Rotolight. Oh, there's a dash in there. Okay. There you go. Okay. So yeah, if you do get anything from Pixapro, by all means, feel free to use that. Okay. Hopefully that answers the questions in terms of lighting stands and that sort of thing. Hopefully that makes sense. By all means, let me know if it doesn't though. Yeah. Okay. Where do we get to? Vlad. So I don't think Vlad's in here tonight, is he? Normally is, but I don't think he's in here tonight. I don't think I missed any questions back there. All good. Yeah, all good. Okay, cool. So Vlad says, this started off with, let's try and see what all that specular highlights Jake is talking about. So this is Vlad's talking about my post last Friday. I was talking about specular highlights. Very fast figured out spraying myself with water whilst remoting into the camera and posing at the same time is kind of too much. Those of you that don't know, Vlad's self-portraits. I just settled for time to take nice selfies since I'm already here, and then evolved it into let's edit it to look like some kind of old expired film, because also this image is shot on a pocket camera. This is not a shot on film though, right? See, this is the thing. So I think this is shot digitally, and we have this. We Simon. This is so weird. So earlier on, Simon was shooting on film, and he was like, right, we need to get rid of the dust and scratches. Vlad is not shooting on film, and he's adding in the dust and scratches. I mean, what amazing time to be a photographer, eh? There's no right or wrong. Okay, so involved. Editing looks like the same. Also, this image shot on a Pocket camera. I grabbed one just because I generally think phone cameras are heading into a shitty direction where shadows and manual control are non-existent, and I want to have a decent camera with me while I'm hiking without carrying a DSLR. Yeah, that is true. I used to do a lot of climbing and mountaineering and that sort of stuff, and you end up taking a decent camera, but because it's such a pain in the ass, you never take it out. I have done countless trips with the thing climbing, but the thing never left my bag, so I was just handicapping myself with kilos worth of camera and that I never used. So yeah, I agree. Getting something smaller is, and there's tons of really good pocket cameras out there now. Really good ones. And I think the issue that phones have, everybody raves about the iPhone. Don't get me wrong, I love the Apple universe and the Apple ecosystem of being able to use the UI and work within it with all my products, talk together. Fine. Camera, I think it's fucking terrible. I don't like it at all. I think it's really bad. But again, everybody raves about it. But I think the issue is it's just a tiny piece of plastic with a focal length of 0.8 millimeters or something like that. It's like you can't expect to get quality. But even a compact camera, a handheld camera, will have actual glass and it will actually have an actual focal length. So I think that it's definitely going to be the way to go for sure. And this definitely doesn't look like a phone. Like you wouldn't get this from a phone camera. I agree. Any CCs welcome. Look, man, I love what you've done with the grade in this. I really like the grade. As always, your sort of style that you've gone for of this upstage light, where almost your key is behind you almost, and as long as you're looking off to one side, I think it works well. I'm guessing that the light that is off on this side is very close to you, because this is very blown out, whereas this is just faded off. I kind of would have been curious to see, had we been able to get this light a little bit further away. Yes, we would have had to turn the power of that light up, but we would have had more of a gradual drop off of light on you here, as opposed to it being blown out and then not so here. Again, difficult to do when you're doing self-portraits. Lighting is hard anyway. Doing it with self-portraits as well is just infinitely harder as well. So look, I get it. This is very good. Miriam says iPhones are not that good to control stuff, not amazing for gig photos at all. Yeah, in terms of controlling, what do I use? I use an app called Yamera, which enables you to access the full manual control. So it's YAMERA, Yamera, and that has that enables you to have the full gamut of controls and stuff in there manually. It's pretty good, but again, you are limited to that crappy little camera. But still nice for basic stuff, though. They have good resolution. Yeah, I mean, I know they always oh yes, it's 30 megapixels. It doesn't. I don't care. If it's shot through a smudged spoon of a lens, I'm not gonna. It doesn't matter how many megapixels it is. But yeah, this is beautiful edit as well for that, as always. Gorgeous tones. I really see you leaning into those yellows and greens recently, which I think is kind of cool. Trying to make that work. But yeah, I'd be interested to know what camera you actually have. Yeah, what camera you're using. Yeah, is the app here? Yeah, it's Yamera. Yeah, Yamera. Yeah. Oh, it's I'll spell it in here. YAMER. Yeah. That's what the app's called. Yeah, and like I said, it just enables you to access the all the controls. I mean, you can do stuff in there with the white balance and tint, and yeah, there's a full like a full range of stuff in there. It's not bad, not bad. I think it's free, yeah. Right, and so we got to the end here with Kathleen's images, and Kathleen was doing a shoot. I mean, she did a shoot, I think a couple of weeks ago or something like that, where she was basically out in the did this shoot, dragged herself out into the wilderness with this throne, this this guy, and outfit and all that sort of stuff, and I said, it'd be cool to see some of these images again next week when we're doing the live stream. So she she posted this one. I just asked her to post a couple more, just so we've got. I just wanted to have a little bit of a play with color grade and that sort of thing, and some of these can sometimes be nice to play with, right? Sam says on a totally separate track. While I've been listening, I've been finally making my string of addressable festoon LEDs useful again. Really happy to see those work with a new controller. So you guys are getting into making these DIY LEDs, and I looked into it, and I think one of you kindly sent me a couple of links, and it was like, oh yeah, it's just it's just basic programming, it'll be fine, Jake. Look, your version of basic programming is very different to mine. But it is something that I did look at, and I can see totally viable. I know, like Anubu in there was saying he made his own. Simon's making his own. There's a bunch of you making your own LEDs. I was just like, what's the middle ground here? What can I like to make this shoot happen? Can I get a cheap LED tube and not make it myself? And the Pixar Pro ones were ideal. They kind of fit that niche. Are they even in here? Can I? What would I type? Here you go. Oh, the little ones. Yeah, so these are cheap ones that I got. So I got the 120s, which are 50 quid a piece. But yeah, so this was like the middle ground between getting something expensive like the Nanlights that Anubu's got, or making it myself, and this was the middle ground. But yeah, by all means, check those out if you're curious. Okay, right. So back to Kathleen's shots here. Yeah, so I asked her to share some of these, and then and I'm just going to go through and have a little bit of play. And that, I think after we've done that, we'll probably end it there. So Liz says, I have 2 of the Pixar Pro ones, not had the shoot yet though. Oh, so you've got some of these too, have you, Liz? You got some of the tubes, have you? Do you mind me asking if that was after I mentioned it, or just feel free to say yes? Right, so let's have a look at a couple of these shots. Let's take these into Photoshop and just have a little bit of a play before we go and get some dinner. So she's color graded these. She already said that she had color graded them, and she said that she was going for like a cinematic look when she was shooting them. I don't think she said anything else at the time. Here's another one, image taken the same set as last week, done in a more cinematic color grading, OpenCC. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is one of those things where color grading, and sometimes this can happen where you take a shot and it's already not neutrally colored, right? And this can happen for a variety of reasons. A lot of the time, it can happen in if you're doing a shoot in the woods or in the park and that sort of thing. Golf course, whatever it is. Somebody mentioned to me the other day, they were like, oh, bloody weddings are always on a bloody golf course or something, or golf club, and that it's annoying because everybody's walking around on the greens, and all the colors are terrible because you have this massive green fill light, right? So the sun's coming down, it's bouncing off the lawn, and it's giving everybody this nasty fill light. Okay, so sometimes you can get the images back, and they're a weird color and that sort of thing. So sometimes it's actually easier to kind of neutralize them first before you try and grade them, right? Now I know Kathleen's already color graded this. I'm just going to use this as an example. So how do we could try and do it with curves and that sort of thing. We can try and color grade it, that route, which is what I normally show you. Another route we could do is color balance. Okay, so here we have shadows, midtones, and highlights. Okay, now this is really useful as well, because with the curves, you don't know what you're bloody doing, right? You just got you've got these three lines. I don't know what I'm doing, Jake. Like here, at least, this partitions off separate areas of the image for you straight away. Okay, so highlights. Okay, so immediately we know we're just talking about the snow here, right? And it gives you a visual representation of the color. Now, I know from experience that the red curve, the opposite of red, is cyan, but for many people, they don't know that, right? So they're looking here, we can go, right, so this is to cyan, so we're in the highlights, we know that we can add some red in here, boom, straight away, we can start to clear up that snow, right? So again, just looking in there, we also got some blues in there as well. So I'm just going to be see what we can do. Maybe too much. We can always come back, right? So midtones. So the midtones in this image is what going to be like probably the tree trunks and that sort of thing. So they're pretty red. So we can probably take some of that out. Okay, and then we got the shadows as well. So the shadows here we can see, like, he is a shadow, right? He's got his black top, black trousers, that sort of thing, and we can see that we've got greens and cyans in there in his clothing, right? So here we've got we're in the shadows, so here we can start to apply some magenta, right? We can see we're just cleaning up some of that. We can take out some of that there. And if you're not sure, oh, is it doing anything, start making exaggerated movements. Okay, and that'll give you help your eye to sort of get keyed in as to where it wants to be. Okay, now with this as well, this is not going to be one and done, because this is kind of also affecting other areas, right? So it's not a bad idea to actually come, once you've got boom, 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 come back to where you started and just fine tune this. Okay. And I'm just looking in the snow area here. And the midtones. I'm looking under here. There's tons of yellow, like cyan in that snow, which is fine, but I don't mind it. I'm just trying to get it somewhat back to normal. Okay, so at the moment we've got a lot of contrast. We've got a lot of heavy contrast in here as well. So one thing that we could do, I mean, you can see how much that has done already. So one thing we could do is we could do this apply image. So just create a curves layer, come down to apply image, and again, right, this is we've got the highlights selected at the moment. I kind of want to bring up the shadows, so I actually want the opposite of that. So I'm just going to hit Command I on that. So at the moment we have the shadows selected. Okay, and now just want to kind of bring that up. Okay, now this is obviously, now that I've brightened this up, we can see we've got way more green and stuff in there, so we can come in. And if you're not sure, one thing that's nice about the curves, if you kind of know what colors that you're trying to go for and you know what area you want to affect, you can come in here, target the greens, for example, bring in the hand tool, and then come down here and actually start to try and target specific areas, right? So the trees, for example, take out some of that red. Okay, so now we can start to play around with adding a bit of our own grade here. So one thing that is super important to know when you're color grading and you want to color grade, Kathleen said, I want to give it a cinematic grade. One thing that's really important to note with this is that it's very difficult to, if not impossible, to color grade very bright and very dark areas. So you can't, Like you can have black paint or like black like a black shadow, and you can add as much red to that black as you want. It's not going to get any redder because it's already black, right? So one trick that we use is to kind of neutralize that. So we bring down the highlights, yeah. So bring down the highlights. So now we've got some data in here that we can start to play with, okay. And also here with the exposure tool, we can kind of just bring up the black point a little bit as well, okay. Now, you don't have to go as much as this. But you can see what's happening there, right? So you can see the snow has got a little bit darker, and you can see his top and stuff. It's just giving us a little bit more play in there. It's kind of weird because you're fighting against yourself almost, because you're trying to darken the snow, but at the same time you're trying to lighten his outfit. Okay, so you can see we've brightened up this area back here, and we've sort of darkened down that snow a little bit. You don't want to go too far with it, but we can leave it there. Now we can bring in the channel mixer, all right? We can come in here and start playing with these. And channel mixer is incredibly powerful. If you're not using it, please do have a go with it. So here what we can do is we can try and think about a color grade that is going to work for this type of shot. So I'm just kind of playing with it at this point. So I'm in the blue channel here. I'm just playing with this. So we could make it very steely cold like that. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just going to turn that off. I'm just going to move on to maybe go a different way with it. Okay. Again, just trying to bring all these tones together, right? Trying to bring, his outfit, the trees and stuff together. And also we have like this, chair and bits and pieces here with the golds and the hair and the trunks of the trees and that sort of thing. It's all about really trying to lock in this color palette so that it's still totally recognizable as to what's going on, but using as few colors as possible to really make the image, pop. I'm just going to play with the reds here a second. There might not be too much we can do, but it's worth just checking if it's going to be a bit too aggressive. Yeah, it's probably a bit too strong. But if you wanted, you could knock back the reds, right? So as before, I didn't actually mind it, but before, you can knock that back. I don't think we need the reds. I might try something with the blue on top of the green that we've just done. And this is really bringing him out of this, right? It's because we've got so much, yellows in terms of his hair and his skin and stuff, and these feathers on his head, the trees as well. Really just trying to crank that color grade as much as possible without it being ridiculous. Okay, so really trying to bring these tones together. You see how we've neutralized these flowers on his head there as well, and locked in a lot of this tone down here as well. So let's see, where do we end up? This is where we were before. This is where we were before, bringing it in, neutralized it, and then brought some of that tone out with the yellows. I also cleaned up the snow, which is actually I wasn't sure we were going to be able to keep the snow in terms of like crisp and clean, but here we're able to bring him out of that a little bit more. The other thing with this as well is, don't forget, we can like we've got another image here, we can just do the same thing again. We can just drag that over. So everything that we've done there, in theory, so we're not using that, we can delete that. So we've got to watch out for that, because that's got a mask on it. But let's just bring that over for now. Turn that off. So that's got the mask on it, so we need to be careful with that. Otherwise, that's really nice, actually. That's really nice. So yeah, you know, once you've done it once, it's very easy to transfer it across multiple images. Now, this only works with, you know, images of a similar type of lighting, right? And this is where people struggle online. You see people talking about, oh, this is the color grade for the Joker movie, or this is the color grade for Mad Max, and that sort of stuff. And it's like, oh, you know, I'm using it on my image, it's not coming out the same thing. It's because your image is like, it's just not lit the same, right? So it's not going to have the same contrast, tonality, and all those sorts of things. So like this is what I mean, right? So this image is very, very different. Okay, so in terms of lighting and the way it looks, very, very different. Yeah. So can we get that looking similar? Well, let me just show you what. I got a pretty good idea. I know what's going to happen when we bring this over. Okay, so this is what happens when we can ignore that because that's got a mask on it. We can see immediately, right? You know, we dragged everything over to this and it was cool, but this now not cool. Okay, so one of the biggest things here is this color balance that I was trying to correct it with. So here, that's kind of getting there. It's kind of getting there. So that curve. I think the biggest issue that we have is the brightness here, right? His face is obviously far, far darker there. So let's just bring this in again, do an apply image. Okay, so this is going to be, again, this is going to be giving me highlights, right? So you want to darken that down. As much as we can do. Okay, and then we can start to bring these other grades in, and we start to, like, you kind of start to get there. I can definitely see it here where I've neutralized the greens in this, but I still think that's too bright overall. So I'm just gonna tweak it a little bit. That kind of gets it there. Kind of gets it there. Yeah. But I mean, we can still tweak this as well. You know, that's not a problem. And really kind of looking for is that skin tone at the moment. And then in this one we got the, was it the blue? Yeah. So the blue. And again, looking at that skin tone. Now, it's obviously cold as well, so he's going to have, like, his nose and tips of his fingers are like different colors to the rest of his face and skin. So that can be an issue, especially with color grading. One thing that we can try here is to just apply a new layer, change it to color, and then if we just choose like a neutral tone here on his face. I think maybe a bit pale. Let's choose something a bit warmer. So I'm just painting on this image with the color layer Yeah, so this is not normal, because if it's normal, it just paints over, right? What we want is color, so this will only affect the actual color tone, not the exposure or anything like that. And you can do the same on the hands. Really, you should do this at the start. You shouldn't do it with all the color grades that I've applied to it, but you can see that we can correct some of this change in color in the hand thanks to the snow. And here, lastly, I've just painted over quite a bit, so I'm just going to see if we can blend it in a little bit. So yeah, so just trying to get rid of some of the pinkish nose and fingertips and that sort of thing. Okay, but for the most part, this is really cool. I really like this grade that we've got here. Again, you know, if we're going to go for green, like, we know that those are trees back there anyway, so we can't do anything too crazy, but we can definitely, you know, I've darkened those greens down. We've almost got this sort of like deep sort of racing green, sort of bluish hue as well, and then tying it into the trousers here. And what I was actually pretty impressed with was the bright green artificial flowers that are on his head. We were actually able to bring those into the same tone, which is really cool. Okay, so yeah, don't be afraid to use any of those tools, color balance as well. If you're not sure, it gives a good visual representation of this tool here. Gives you a good visual representation of what you're working on, so it's kind of easier to get your head around it. And then the actual channel mixer to kind of lock in like two or three core colors. Okay. I might have mentioned them to you. Got mine last summer for. Oh, okay, cool, brilliant. That's the one you used. That's nice. Okay, excellent. Liz. Yeah, sorry I missed that comment. Yeah. We're just about to wrap up here, Sterling, but I will check. I will just refresh this and have a look at your image. Thank you for dropping it in there. Let's come out of here. We can't come out of there. There we go. Refresh that. Let's have a look at your image real quick before we wrap this up. Oh wow, that's really cool, man. Throwing this in at last minute, shot a couple of nights ago. Wow, yeah, that's really cool, man. Really cool. Whereabouts are you based in, Sterling? That is where is that? Yeah, that's crazy. Beautiful, beautiful. Love that outfit as well. Really cool outfit. Beautiful, beautiful. It's fine, Sterling. It's honestly, I won't hold it against you, mate. It's fine. Nice. A lake near you. Brilliant, brilliant. Thanks for popping it in there. Was that recently? Was it? All my wardrobe material. Really nice. Okay, that's great that you got access to that, and that's actually really just a final thing to end on there about doing photo shoots and that sort of thing. You know, having a bunch of bits and pieces that you can kind of use on shoots for different ideas and that sort of thing. I've got a bunch of stuff here, whether it be big sort of like fake fur coats or like trench coats, like shiny trench coats, or silver jackets. Excuse me. Silver jackets, sequin dresses, that sort of stuff. Like stuff that works for my work and that sort of thing. It's always good to have a collection of things. Or like Stanley's got, here's obviously got bits and pieces that you can put over. I've got like boleros and stuff that you can put on top, or jackets are an easy win, right? If somebody brings along something that's like, Jesus Christ, what color is that? You've always got like a silver jacket that's going to be neutral that you can use in a shoot. This sort of stuff is really nice as well. Like white items, flowy items are really cool. Hats is another really interesting item. It's a bit of a pain in the ass with more complex lighting to deal with larger hats. Boots and shoes only relevant if you're doing a lot of full length stuff. It's not. I don't have any boots and shoes, although I know a lot of photographers do that shoot studio stuff. But yeah, cool belts, simple jewelry like necklaces, chokers, that sort of stuff. Like, you don't need to spend a ton of money, and you can start, collecting it. But it is always good. The only downside is you just should be careful where you use it, otherwise everybody ends up looking like they got the same stuff. So Liz says, I have so many vintage dresses for shoots too many, some might say. That's a really nice idea actually, Liz. Yeah, so that's kind of cool that a lot of that stuff is coming back in terms of being fashionable now. But vintage dresses, you can certainly go out hunting for those. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to get some unique bits and pieces like that, especially if you've got a shoot coming up. You got to remember that, especially for those people who, I want to test with new models, or how do I get working with a modeling agency so that I can start shooting their books and that sort of stuff. You got to remember that some of these girls and guys as well, coming to you, are going to be very, very young. They're not going to have tons and tons of cool stuff. So you can give them a mood board, and you can give them a styling list, and you can give them all this sort of thing. But it doesn't matter how, if they don't have it, they don't have it, right? They don't have pots of money to be buying all this stuff. So you can be upset and pissed off that they didn't turn up with the things that you asked for. But the reality is that you should get some of these bits yourself, so that you have something that at least is going to be neutral and give yourself a clean shot. Liz says, I rent from a local theatre too. That's cool. So a local theatre, local-ish, reached out to me, Shakespeare Theatre, something like that. Anyway, they got tons of stuff going back years and years and years. That's actually a really, really cool point, Liz, that I think a lot of those places are happy to rent stuff to you if it's not being used. If they've got all this stuff, usually warehouses of this stuff that they've done, performances and plays and stuff in the past, not being used at the time, they're more than happy to let you use it. And you can get some really, really unique stuff that nobody else is going to be shot. It's all very well buying a 20 quid silver jacket from ASOS, but a 1,000,001 people have probably got that as well. So having something unique like that could be really cool. Yeah. Sterling says, I had a model tell me that I have more clothes than she owned. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to be careful it doesn't look too creepy. But I mean, as long as they're not, all on the mannequin when she arrives, I think you'd be fine. But yeah, it's good to have. It's good to have. All right, guys, look, I'm going to shoot off. I'm going to get some dinner and stuff. It's been a couple of hours. I said it wouldn't. I said it'd be a short one, but I mean, I blame you. Absolutely, 100% all your fault. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody that obviously tuned in tonight, had a chat, asking questions. Always fun hearing what you guys are struggling with and I want to ask questions about and that sort of thing. Happy to help. And thank you, of course, to everybody that shared an image, posted an image. Awesome seeing those. Always fun playing with those. And yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm sure I'll chat to you again on Facebook tomorrow, and then we'll hopefully do another one of these live streams in another couple of weeks. Okay. So yeah, that was a short one. I know. Yeah, it's only 2 hours and 5 minutes. It was a short one. So yeah. All right, guys. Take care. See you again. Bye.